All right, we are live. Give me 1 second here to get the Amazon one going. I think this is the first, we did a couple of live streams from CES, but I think this is the first one that I've done like this in a while. It's been a very busy month. Okay, we are live now in both places. And yeah, we're going to get started in a minute or two here, once everybody finds their way in. Let's get a little sharper image on that thing there, see if it looks okay. It's a little blurry there, but it looks pretty sharp. There we go. All right, now this came in from a viewer. Handheld Obsession let me borrow this. And actually, he sent it to me before he even opened it. So I just did one of those shorts that everybody loves on the main channel, so you can see it getting taken out of the box. And in the live stream today, what we're going to do is test it a little bit, see how it works. And I just need to find a cable so I can get my screen up here too. So bear with me here for a second, folks. Just getting a few things straightened out here, and we'll get going. Plug that in, and I totally forgot to get another cable for this monitor, but I think I can get by with this. I think, yeah, we can fit that in there. Okay. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. That's right, Flood of Sins. We are live. And Thomas Woodford is here. And Amda Brown is here. And Romerick is here. All my friends have joined us again. Ryan Turner is here. And Nigel is here. So, yeah, this is kind of a neat thing. So, and this is not going to be for everybody. And I say that a lot sometimes on the channel, but this time I mean it. The reason it's not for everybody is because this thing, let me start my NDI box here. This thing is kind of like a rebuilt from scratch Nintendo system, but it has the same chips. So it actually works with original Nintendo chips, but they made an open source motherboard for it. So you could build this yourself. In fact, in the box here, looks like this came out of there. In the box, they have a schematic. This is like totally open source. So you could go out and buy the components. And I think you can download this. They have the whole bill of materials on here. I think it's the right way, that way. They have the whole bill of materials on here. And you can buy the parts and make this yourself. So it's really cool. So today what we're going to do is we're going to experiment with this and just see what it's about. And then probably tomorrow I'm going to make a video about it, which will go up over the weekend. So that is what this is. Ando Gamer is here. Hello there. And exactly, just when you think you're going to get rid of your composite cables, and that's one of the neat things about this, is that it uses composite. It doesn't have any HDMI on it either. So it's very, like I said, this is not for everybody, but I think those who are interested in this will want it. Matt Thomas is here. Jersey, never heard of it. Exactly. That's why I'm very grateful to our viewer, one of our friends, who sent this in for me to look at. And what I thought I would do is just take a peek inside and see what's in here. So that's what we're going to do first. And then after that, we'll put it back together. And we'll boot it up. So here's what's neat about this. No HDMI, no internet, no modern accoutrements, no SD card slot, no RGB, no stereo. I think actually it may have a stereo output through a secondary plug. Completely redesigned NES motherboard is really what this is about. So it works exactly like the original, but better. So there's a couple of areas where it is better. It consumes less power. It's got a better cartridge slot. The video signal, they say, is cleaner. It has more RAM, although it's not, nothing makes use of the RAM, but it has more RAM. So it's kind of neat. So we'll see how it comes together. That's right, we'll do it live. It's funny, that will always be in my head when I go live. I'm like, we'll do it live. R.W. Stark is awake. And Richard is from load shedding country in South Africa. Hello there. Are my shorts performing well? They're doing okay. They do about as well as everything else I do. Mediocre. But you know what, though? I think there's times when it works. And actually, this is an experiment, actually, today, because what I did is I posted a short of the unboxing, and then we're live. And apparently, if people see your short and you're live, it like directs people over here. So we'll see how that might be going. Let's take a look and see. It is cold out. It's going to get colder here. It's just, yeah. So we're going to capture some B-roll here. Then I'm going to put this back together again. So this is going to be new folder, TinyNES. So I've got about the same number of viewers I usually get. So I don't know if these shorts are working for me yet. But we'll see. And you know what? I think there's a good use case for shorts. Here you go. That's the inside. So let's take a little bit of B-roll here. And I don't know if these may not be original chips in here, actually. I'll take another look at it here. Because these have stickers on them. I think these are I'll have to ask him if he got, which one he got. Because it does work with clone chips. So maybe he opted for the clone chip one, because these look like new chips to me. So the big deal with this is that the CPU and PPU can be the originals, or you can have clone chips slid in also. I think this one might have clone chips. So interesting. Oh, so here you go. So serial tune got here from the short. Perfect. So it's working. That's what I was curious about. So it looks like that worked for at least one. Tacit saw the short. Perfect. Is there a tiny Sega? No, there's not. I think it's more, the Sega might be more complicated than, maybe not. But I don't think, I'm going to take a picture of this before I seal it back up again. I don't think these are original chips. Let me take a quick photo of this real quick, just so I have it. There we go. Okay. And Serial Tune says, I generally hate shorts because they muddy my subscriptions page, but I waste a lot of time on meme shorts. Yeah, don't we all? And that's the thing. I don't want to make meme shorts because I'm not that talented. But I see there's an opportunity. Because I get stuff in every once in a while. I'm like, gosh, I can't devote a whole day to shooting a review of this thing, but maybe there's some value to it. And so I've got a pile of stuff that I think will actually work well as a short. This has got some magnets in it. It's magnetic. I feel it like, maybe it's just the cable that, no, this is the cable that it's touching there. Yeah, never mind, it's not magnetic. Yeah, so I think these are, let me look this up real quick. So here's what I learned today, because I was doing some research on why people might want this. You can't just take any like 6502 and put it in this thing, because the 6502 on the NES was custom for it. All right, so this is an RPA 283H. You know what? Maybe it is legit. It just looks new. And it's got the quality control sticker on there, but I'm looking on the nesdev.org homepage here, and the RPA 2A03H, which is what I'm looking at right here, these just look brand new, but maybe they're legit. Let's look up the chip, the processor. This is an RP2C02G-0. I mean, it's possible this is a clone, but it looks pretty close to what I'm seeing on the website I'm looking at right now. So, love to hear some thoughts on that. But yeah, this is the motherboard. Not much to it. David G, thank you for the follow on Amazon, by the way. And there's no FPGA in here. There's nothing. So again, the deal with this is that it is the business of the NES, which is the processor with the built-in sound chip, because that's what the 6502 integrates, is the NES sound, and the PPU. Both of these chips were made by Ricoh back in the day. And when they manufactured the NES, those chips were what made it an NES. And so what this project did, again, open source, they took those chips and built a new NES around it that improves upon the original. But as such, no FPGA, no SD card slot, and you're going analog on this sucker. So that is the big difference there. So now we're going to put it back together, and then we'll fire it up. So that is what that's about. And I got my B-roll, so I'm happy there. Yeah, so you could make this yourself. I have no skills in that area, but if I did, I would try. Matthew Burden is here. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we haven't streamed in a while here on the channel. One of my afternoon streams. Partly because I've been so busy. Like January was a very busy month. I had all these projects to do. I had a whole bunch of stuff going on. This week has like actually been a relatively chill week for me, so I'm well ahead of the game. And I've been so in addition, by the way, in addition to YouTube wanting to do shorts, Amazon is doing shorts now too. So I was uploading a bunch of shorts to Amazon. And again, I'm not a big fan of short form stuff, but I'm going to be experimenting with making it useful. And if you want to see a really good short, you should check out my friend Metal Jesus Rocks. He just did a great one that I think is exactly how you can make a short form video that's good. And Retro Lars says, so magic. And RW wants to know, why screw around with putting on the cover? Well, this is not mine. Otherwise, I would boot it up without the cover on. But I wanted to see what was inside. Zam is here. Good to see you. Yeah, I think if I'm able to shoot the video on this tomorrow, I think I'm going to take a day and just clean this place up. This place is a disaster right now. I look like either I look like a tech hoarder, or if you've ever seen like one of those repair shops in Star Wars where all the parts are just all over the place, that's kind of what this place looks like right now. Could producer Jake maybe do some shorts? Yeah, I have him editing up stuff. So ideally what I'd like to do is pull content out of what I've already been producing, so I don't have to spend more, like I'm not going to spend more time or not do other things. So if you think about what I did with this earlier, taking it out of the box was something I was going to do anyhow, so I may as well just turn the camera on, right? So that was kind of how I was looking at that. All right, so it is back together. Now, you will note that this lacks a HDMI. So how, pray tell, are we going to hook it up to this display here? Well, the way we're going to do it is through the magic of the RetroTink 5X. This is the best upscaler you can ever buy. Nothing better. Like, you buy that and you're done. And I'm going to take out, and I'm going to use all the included cables here to fire this thing up. And then I'll let you listen in so we can see how things sound on this. So let me zoom this out a little bit, get our display situated. And what'll be kind of funny is just how ridiculous this will look when the cartridges are in there. Because the unit itself is basically the same size as the cartridge. Like, so that's, like, the whole system is the same size as one of the cartridges are. Now, granted, the NES originally had a lot of extra space in it, but I just think that's kind of funny. All right, so let me move. So this is what I'm talking about. I have this disaster of a desk. So let me move this over a little bit here and move the box out of the way. I just want to keep this laptop out of the scene. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, we'll get there. Let's get it hooked up and see what we can manage here. So we got a composite video cable, a USB-C cable, and I'm going to use the stereo. They have like this stereo output cable. So let's try that. Well, this does all three, huh? It's a composite 3-channel. So this will do all three. So maybe we'll do that. I would imagine it's the same either way. We'll have to see there. Yeah, I'm embarrassed to actually have people come down here. So that's my issue. So I didn't say what this costs. So this unit is $229 with the original chips, and I guess with the other chips it's like $200 or so. So it's expensive. Flood of Sins is when I'm making the same shorts. So what I've just, yes, to some degree. So I took a couple of my YouTube shorts and I uploaded those to Amazon, because that's what I do anyhow with my YouTube videos. And so then it goes into their review process, so they're kind of sitting in review. And then I'll probably make some specific for Amazon. So Amazon has a new thing called Inspire that they're trying to get people inspired to use. All right, so I'm going to go initially here just running these cables direct. So we're going to plug in to the audio. And it's got a nice, it comes with a nice nylon braided cable. So it feels a little premium. So I'll plug that into that. And then I'll just mix the channels together in my, and then for the, this is the yellow video cable. Again, just composite. You know, part of me was wondering or thinking maybe it probably would not have been a big lift for them to have made a RGB output, because you don't have to go digital for that. But I think that's something that a lot of gamers, retro gamers, because like I'm thinking like, what would Bob from Retro RGB want in something like this? And I think he would want RGB out. That's what I'm thinking. All right, so let me go pull up the menu here. So this thing has a menu. Let's see, maybe I got to turn it on. Let's see. I think it's on. I'm getting a signal, but I haven't turned it on yet. I'm just trying to get my thing selected here. So let's see. I may have to reboot my. All right, let's try this again here. Okay, there we go. Ah, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so now I go to menu, maybe. Input. Turn this off and turn it back on again. If I crash, I will come back. Sometimes my NDI box crashes my system here. And we should also check and see if I have batteries in my remote control. I do. And this remote is for the RetroTink. There we go. Okay, so the input, we're going to go and select composite. And I haven't turned it on yet, so in case you're wondering. Okay, so let's go back. And I haven't yet done any special stuff with the video. By the way, we're going to have a review of this coming up soon, too. It's another piece of equipment that just happens to be sitting around in here. Okay, so the next thing we need is a controller. And as you can see, this has the controller ports on it for the original. This is my original NES controller, one of my originals. So I'll plug that in. And I will say, I like how this goes in. It feels good. It's got a nice feel to it. Because remember the NES, you'd have to really like tug on it to get it out. This does not grip very hard. So it's got a good feel. And we've got some EverDrives here, but I thought we would start with some games on the shelf. So let's grab my little NES collection here. There's a few games. These are pretty dusty games, but we'll see, see how they do. My wife's Zelda is back there, but if I take her Zelda down, the whole thing's going to collapse on us. So we'll take it slow here. So we should start, though, I think, with so Duck Hunt I'm going to try later on the CRT upstairs. Why don't we have to start with Super Mario 3, right? So the cartridge goes in like so. Ooh. It grips hard. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get that out. We'll have to see how that goes. All right, let's flip it on here. There's a switch in the back to turn it on. I think I'll flick it towards me. There we go. Ha! It's up. Well, I'll tell you what, for composite, here, I'll let you all see this. I think it looks pretty clean for composite. And I'm not doing anything with the retro tink here. It is, I do have to nudge it over a little bit. Can you see that? How it's kind of like nudged to the left? I don't know if that's a retro tink issue. So I think what I can do here, so Sheepy's out. Sheepy wants the RGB. And I think for some that's going to be important. I mean, I would say, so here's a good question for BB Garnett. Like, for me, I'm an NT Mini guy, right? Like, that's my, that is me. Because I like the, sorry, I'm just trying to, scaling crop. Okay, so let's position this. There we go. Let's move it over a little bit. Yeah, so it was a little to the left. And you can see like the NES by default had a little extra room on the top and the bottom. So we'll just kind of set those there. And I'm going to save this as a profile just so I can come back to it later. And we're going to put it in slot 3. I'll have to remember that later. All right. So, yeah, so I think for a composite, it looks darn good, doesn't it? So the next step is we're going to hear what the audio sounds like. And let me turn it on real quick. It looks like we might be getting a little static through it, but hang on, let's take a look. Well, I don't hear anything yet. So let's hit the start button. Oh. Oops, sorry, everybody. All right, so what I'm going to do next is just adjust some audio settings here. Do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. You might hear a little bit of echo because it's coming through my screen also. And I just need to adjust the channel mixer. There we go. Okay. Let's save as. I'm just going to call this my okay. By far, Ando, I think it is the best. It is definitely. You know what's funny too? Back in, so this must have been 1987 or 88. I had this local video store that got in the Japanese version of Super Mario 3, which was almost a year, I think, before it showed up here. And so I remember getting it, and all my friends came over. We played the heck out of that game. We couldn't read any of the Japanese, but most of the game was playable without knowing, you know. So one bag says it looks clean for composite. Yeah, and we're also upscaling to 4K if you're watching on YouTube right now. But yeah, it looks super clean. I'm impressed with that. I mean, for a composite. But just imagine what the RGB would have looked like on it, right? Here, so I'm going to do a little B-roll here. I'm seeing a little bit of noise. I don't know if you can see it. But it could just be composite artifacts. And this place is probably not the cleanest electrically. And you know what I'm thinking now? I probably should be capturing at 60. I am only doing 30 for the stream. So I may capture some B-roll separately, but it looks super clean. I think it looks pretty good. So not bad. So let's flick it off here. And let's see if we can get the cartridge out. So one man says, your wife has her own Zelda on a scale. So here's what's funny about this. I have a good story about this, actually. So, ooh, yeah, I'll tell you what, this thing grips. I'm going to leave a note in my document about this. This thing grips as hard as those, what were those, that company, what makes this stuff? The Retron 5 company, you know what I'm talking about. Theirs grips like this does. Ooh. It is tight. There we go. It is tight. All right. So I would say first impressions that it seems to look pretty good. Now what I'm going to do here, yes, I blow them out just by habit. What I'm going to do is capture a little bit of audio here with that. Oh, I forgot to tell the story. Sorry. Let me put this back up again. So the story about my wife and Zelda. My wife and I were dating. We've been together for almost 23 years, and we went away together. I had my laptop with me with one of the NES emulators. I think it was Nesticle back then. This was like 2001, 2000. Hyperkin E.C. Myers, thank you. And I had Zelda on there, and she's like, you have Zelda on that thing? And the rest of that trip, that's all she did. She played through the whole game. And apparently she had a Nintendo as a kid and played the you-know-what out of it. So, all right, here's a 3-screw, I have a 5-screw Excite bike in the car, actually. So here's my Metroid. Actually, this is not mine. This is somebody else's. I think I ended up with 2 of these. I don't know where they came from. What I thought I would do here is do a little audio recording in addition to, so I'm going to just put this up and just record some audio with my audio off because I want to grab this for later. So let's flick this on here. All right, let me put the audio on here for you. All right, so I'm going to turn my audio off for a minute and just record some footage, okay? I didn't do very well there, did I? I think what's happening here with the glitch, so yeah, that's exactly it. So I've got to figure this out here. So yeah, I'm going to probably need to just capture this footage offline, unless I can set the output on the RetroTink here, output resolution. Yeah, so it stays locked at, so I would love to be able to have it output at 30, because I do all my stuff at 30, but I'm going to have to just capture this differently. Yeah. All right, well, we'll take a few. I'll just add it to the list of things to do later. Or actually, you know what? I could capture this at 60. What I can do is pull up my NDI app here. I'm thinking here. NDI virtual. Let me see what I got for it. NDI video monitor. Does the NDI video monitor on the Mac capture at 60 or not? Let's find out. So if I go to Spark Channel 1, set record path. Oh, I gotta record this right on my Mac. So then I could actually capture to the Mac and not have to deal with vMix at all here. That might be the way to go. Oh, I can record. All right, let's try this again then. Yeah, so I think that's what our issue is. And the best part is now I can talk while I play, because it won't pick up my mic coming out of the other thing. So let's see here. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, so we're going to try that. Yeah, so I think what you were seeing, as E.C. Myers pointed out, yeah, so let me hit the reset button here. And I'm going to start recording on my... Yeah, this will work better, actually. Because what E.C. Myers was pointing out was that because I was capturing at 30 frames per second, some of the flickering effects, like right there, weren't visible on the capture. So what I'm doing on my Mac right now is capturing at 60 out of the RetroTink over NDI. And it's also capturing the audio, so I'll have a good, clean capture here of everything we're doing. And I'm sure a lot of the purists will be saying, well, Lon, you went the wrong way. You got to get the ball first. So let me go back and get the ball. Yeah, so certainly the visual quality is not on par with the analog or the, or the Mister, because those are, basically converting to HDMI with a much, a kind of a RGB output. But if you were to compare this to an NES, hooked up the same way, it'd be night and day better here. So as composite goes, and I'll give you another view of it here. As composite goes, this looks really clean. It looks super clean. All right, I'm good with that. Now, how does this record? So I have a .mov file. I'm just looking on my Mac here to see what I ended up with. Oh, just give me that, huh? I have to close this out, and that'll finalize the recording. Huh. So you know, it's funny. It gave me this file. You know, nothing's easy in this world, folks. All right. Yeah, so thank you for that tip, E.C. Myers, because I was about to totally waste a lot of time. This is playing actual NES games at the moment. We are going to plug my EverDrive in a second, though. So is it a good idea to split a signal through one RetroTink? So what we're doing here, actually, is I am running the RetroTink into an NDI box. This is hey, Amir Robinson's joining us, by the way, on Amazon. So I have an NDI box on the floor over here, and what that's doing is grabbing the HDMI out of the RetroTink, and it's putting it out on the network. So I can simultaneously grab it over the network from my vMix, to my vMix system here for you to see, but also put it on my Mac at the same time. But if you're splitting analog signals going in, that will certainly have an issue. But you could have an HDMI splitter, and the HDMI splitter will power the HDMI going out, so that shouldn't reduce any quality. But let me see. I got to figure out, though, why it didn't let me. Hang on, let me go back to. See, the Mac handles things a little differently than. Because I've got like this weird file, so it's a gigabyte. So I don't know what it's recording it. What codec? Linear PCM timecode SHQ2. So I must need to get a codec from. Bear with me here, folks. I'm going to do this a little differently, I think. So I think what I'm going to do here, sorry for the delay, I'm just trying to troubleshoot the best option. So what I'm going to do actually is, instead of capturing with the NDI app, I'm going to bring it in through their camera thing. So NDI virtual input. And I'm going to select my Spark. I should probably do a whole video about this. Because NDI is, I think, is the best thing ever. Especially for the stuff that I do, because I'm always doing things in weird ways. So I'm just going to bring in. Oh, it's not showing up in QuickTime now. vMix is there, but let's see. All right, that's not going to work either. I may have to go get a PC. When in doubt, pull out the PC. So stand by, everybody. It's got to grab a PC, and then we can. So I just want to grab this footage while I'm doing it, so I don't have to do it again later. Let me take some questions though while this is coming in. Yes, it's total witchcraft because it works so well. That's what's crazy about this is, you know, it just works like any other video input. It's amazing. All right, let me see if I can figure out how to bring in this video to the Mac. It kills me though. I got this fancy Mac here and it's not cooperating. Usually I can grab like QuickTime. And QuickTime will see it as a camera, but right now it is not. So it's got the audio, but not the video. So let me try one other thing here. I think I need to update the NDI stuff. Worst comes to worst, though, I'll go grab a PC. But there's a new version of NDI tools, so maybe that might work better. There's also NDI for Final Cut Pro. Maybe I could drop it into that. All right, let's try this real quick here. And then we're going to get to the EverDrives, because there's a couple things I want to try on the EverDrive. And now it wants to restart my Mac. Stand by. I think I can restart the Mac without anything going awry here. So, all right, so we're going to restart the Mac, and then we'll continue. But yeah, it seems to be working pretty well so far. So the good news is I am very impressed with the quality of the output. Even, it is composite, but as composite goes, this is pretty good. So that is a good sign. And I am not a master of this RetroTink thing, so I don't know if there's a setting I should be using here. I'm trying not to do any post-processing, just having it give me a clean. So I have a couple different options for how this might look. I had it set to sharp, which is my preference. So I'm assuming the defaults here are probably where I want to go with it. So the RetroTinks used to be like just simple line doublers, and now they're full-on upscalers, so that makes it a little bit more complicated. All right, so bear with me here. I'm just rebooting my Mac real quick. And I got to do a little bit of that, and I think we'll be ready to go here. Okay, so we're back up. So this is not FPGA. So what's interesting about this is that it is running with, so here I'll answer some of these questions here. So it is running with original NES chips. And this one has I believe, an original Rico CPU and PPU. So the PPU is the picture processing unit, which generates the graphics. And then the CPU is the 6502 with the mated audio components. And so what's unique about this is that they've basically made a new main board to interface with these chips. So the output of what you get game-wise, so here's Metroid, the output is essentially identical to what you would get on an original NES, but they improved everything else about it. So the chips are on a modern design, but they're still using the original chips. However, because this is trying to be original, there's no HDMI and no RGB. So it's original hardware from the standpoint of the chips driving the business of processing the game, but the hardware is new. And I guess they have a bunch of donor chips that they've been using to make this all work. That's my understanding of it. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. If it doesn't, let me know. And I'm sure we'll get some more questions about it, which I'm happy to answer. But that's my understanding as to how this works. All right, so I got the new version of NDI up now. So let's see if I can get this to record. Yeah, I'm going to throw this in my downloads folder and see if that makes a difference. Because it's giving me these two weird files that I don't know what to do with. So hang on a second. Let me just get rid of this real quick. So yeah, so I'm able to bring it in over NDI. I'm on my Mac here. I'm going to set the record path to my downloads folder just for the heck of it. And let me hit record here and see what I get. So then it's doing what it did before, which is it's giving me a .ndi file and a QuickTime file, but it's not closing out the movie. It's got some weird codec. Now if I load up QuickTime and I go new movie recording, and I select, so it's not pulling that up as a video source, which I've been able to do in the past. So I've got to figure out, let me try to capture into Final Cut. Maybe I can do that. Yes, it's not even component, it is composite. So it's modern hardware, but it's doing exactly what the original did. And there is a version with clone chips. So if you were able, and actually you could, the design of the board, the design of this board is completely open source. So you could in theory, build it yourself and then yank the chips out of out of your old NES if you wanted to. But yeah, I think if you have a good CRT, and maybe you got a CRT that doesn't have an RGB input, I think this might be a good solution. This will be the best NES experience you can get that has original hardware. But it looks really good for composite, as everyone's noting. Not noticing any screen tearing on the LCD. I am capturing at 60, but streaming at 30, so that could be why it looks weird. Yep, just a reliable, accurate, low-power NES. No frills. Exactly. And Frank, I get this mixed up all the time. Composite, component, it's all gibberish. And bend over. I bend over. Another retro console. It's a great one. Looks pretty good so far. Okay, so now I got to figure out, I'm in Final Cut now, so let me see if I can, because they have like a Final Cut thing here. Yeah, it's not finding that either, so let me go do the virtual input. And if I can't get this to work, I will go get my PC and just do it that way. Although I've got a lot of horsepower. You know what? Let me try this. I have a very powerful PC that runs my stuff here. I should be able to actually just grab it on the same computer. Because my vMix right now is set to 30, so I can't grab a 60 even if I wanted to. But I think I might be able to. Let's see, NDI5 tools, screen capture, or studio monitor. Studio monitor is what I want. And hopefully this doesn't crash the stream. So you all tell me if the stream gets messed up here. Okay, so yeah, so on here I'm not seeing the image, but it just went out. All right, there it goes. This may not work. You know, I am noticing, I don't know if you all notice this, there's a little bit of a glitch going on. See that? And I'm noticing that at the 60 capture rate also. And what I'm not sure about, if that is, because it's running on a cycle. Here, check it out. I'll put it on the big screen here. See that? It's a little wave at the top. Watch. It's not doing it now, of course, because I'm looking at it. Let me go back over here. See that? Let's see if it does it again. It was doing that while I was like, see that? It's got like a little bit of a little glitchiness to it. I'm not sure what that's called. Oh, I was gonna, that's a good, I'm glad you brought this up, EC, because I'm actually looking to try that out as well. Okay, so these codecs installed to the user flow. Make sure you install. Okay, so I got to grab the NewTek QuickTime codec for the Mac, and that might solve my problem completely. So let's try that. Bear with me, folks. NewTek codec for Mac. I think that's what I needed. And if this works, then I'm good. Yeah, SHQ installer. That's probably why it wasn't working for me. And then I need to go into security. For some reason, NewTek, who you would think would have a secure thing, all right, so let's go through this process. 2.3 megabytes. All right, so now if we go back to what I recorded, yeah, it's not working still. I have to reboot again. All right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab my PC and just simplify this process here. So bear with me, everybody. Yeah, I think this is for a very specific audience. And I'm going to have to like plug this into my CRT upstairs and see if I see the same issue. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I am going to get another PC up and running, and I'm going to record the output of that NDI box. So that way, I don't have to repeat my work here. And I can actually just slide out the Mac and slide in the PC. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to put the Mac aside for a little bit. And I've got a PC here that should be able to do the same thing. Ugh. I love my Macs, but some of this video, it's funny, the Macs are so good at creative work, but live video just is not as good on the Mac. So we're going to have to experiment with a few other things here. And then once I get that settled, I'm going to start capturing a bunch of footage. And I got to turn my heater down here. But such is the life on this channel of trying to shoehorn stuff together. And that's what makes this so hard to review, because your only real option is to capture composite video, right? Because that's all it does. So capturing composite video is harder than it would be to capture HDMI, for example, obviously. So that's what makes this a bit of a challenge for us. All right, so let me log into my PC that I've got here. And I may not have the NDI tools on here either, so we'll have to grab those real quick and see. Let's take a look. Yeah, we'll have to grab those NDI tools real quick. That won't take very long to get. And then we'll have a good way to capture this footage. At least I think we will. All right. And then I can still chat with all of you too. So let's pull that back up. And this is on 8089. Okay. Ha! So you know what I did, E.C. Myers, is I got so this I think I told you this story before, but if I have, I apologize. But some of the others on the chat might find this interesting. So a while ago, I mean a long while ago, my father was renovating his house, and he said to me, he's like, "Hey, I got this old TV. Do you want it?" And I said, "Yeah," because I didn't have a CRT television. So, because I've never, I moved into this house in 2007, and at my prior house I had a CRT high def TV, but not a low def one. And for a while nobody wanted them, right? So my dad's like, "Yeah, I got this TV. You want it?" I said, "Yeah, I'll come by and pick it up." And I didn't realize how good a TV it was. So this is a JVC television, and I got the TV. It was upstairs forever. I never really used it. I'd picked up a couple of retro consoles when they were cheaper, so I got like a TurboGrafx and had plans to do all sorts of stuff with this TV, but never got around to it. And I never gave much thought to the RGB component option for video games, because I didn't have the soldering skills, for example. I didn't realize you could just buy a cable from any consoles, right? So lo and behold, I get in the HD Retrovision cable for a Sega CD that I bought on eBay. And I had bought this because my plan was to have it for when the analog Sega console came out. So I got it with that intention. And when I brought it upstairs to play with it on the television, I looked behind the TV and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a component cable on the back of this thing. And so I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And I could not believe how good the image looks out of it. When you were on a CRT with component in, not composite, but component, it looks so good. And what was even better was the fact that my, whatchamacallit, my Mister also can output to that. And so I can output everything the Mister can do, and it looks amazing. It's just incredible how good it looks. So yeah. All right, I'm just gonna see. All right, so let's try this and see what happens. So we're gonna try the Metroid thing again. I'm sorry to be stuck on this one game, but I just want to get something captured. So now I've got this PC loaded up, and I think this will work. All right, so I'm going to hit the start button here and start recording. I don't even know where it's recording to. Hang on a second. I guess it puts it in the movie folder. Videos. Yeah. Oh, it does the same thing here too. So I don't even know what format this is in. Yeah, so, all right, you know what I'm going to do? Sorry, everybody. I know I'm like totally making your lives miserable right now, but I've got to figure out a way to get video reliably captured to this device. So I'm going to put OBS on this thing, and that should settle it. Just so I can have a reliable recording that I know I can work with. Because what's happening is this NDI thing is recording in its own codec, and that's great. But my Mac doesn't seem to want to. I have the new Mac. I don't think the codecs work with. This is why I got rid of the TriCaster, was because of all this. So rather than go through the rigmarole of installing vMix on here, I'm just gonna put OBS on, which will be quicker to get started with. And rather than, I'm gonna use the virtual input. Let's see, NDI virtual input, and that way I can get this going a little quicker. Okay, so let's do that. And then I'll have to rely on the codec for that. And then we'll be ready. We can move on. Sorry, everybody. You know how it goes around here. Remote connection manager, so I think it's webcam is what I want. So source selected. So we're going to select Spark channel 1, and I'm going to set the video to 10. Ugh, really? All right, that's not going to cut it. Yeah, it's limiting me to 30 on this. All right, so we're going to have to get the other thing. That can't do 60, so we're going to grab the NDI plugin for OBS. And hopefully this will work. All right, bear with me for one more second, folks, sorry. All right, so Windows installer. Let's save that to downloads. I'm going to set it to 60. Hey, I saw that EPOS Vox is getting mentioned right when you install OBS. It's like, that's awesome. I haven't seen him on Twitter in a while. And Computer Pal loves the OBS. Yeah, so I like OBS too. I'm a big vMix fan. That's what I use for all the stuff that I do here on the channel. Let's go and do this real quick. Downloads, OBS NDI. All right. Yeah, so what I'm trying to do here, folks, is just be able, I want to capture while I'm streaming with you all today so I don't have to do it again. I try to maximize my time, is what I try to do, which doesn't always work, but I try. All right. Oops, sorry, got that installed. Okay, so let's go back to OBS. All right, so OBS Studio, load that back up. Yeah, so I have to say, I think that Windows handles live video much better than the Mac does. The Mac is capable of it. All right, so now what's the problem here? Desktop, source name. It's not finding it on the network. There it goes. So vmix output, I'm sorry, Spark output, there we go. Okay, there it is. Now we got it. So now I'm going to get rid of the microphone audio. And I'm going to grab this. So let's just try and record real quick. Let's go into settings and output. So we're going to do the hardware encoder. Yeah, say high quality. Let's just give that a shot and see how that looks. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start recording on the PC here. And I'll also leave up your window here so I can chat to all of you. And then I think we can move forward. Yeah, and see, this is the other thing is why I chose vMix is because I was looking when I was looking to go away from the TriCaster. Hey, Frank Cromer's joining us. When I was looking to go away from the TriCaster, I was looking for something that was going to be reliable, and I found with OBS that the NDI wasn't always there, and NDI has become a really important part of my workflow. So that's why I wanted to make sure I had something that worked well with it. All right, so we got that figured out. So now I'm going to record a little bit here, and I'll pull up the audio so you can hear a little bit of it too. All right, so now, and then it's going to be full blast on this. And the only other thing I want to change on here is the audio input, if I can figure that out. The audio sounds pretty clean too, I think. All right, so we're going to have the NDI source be mono. Perfect. Okay, so now I've got exactly what I want. So I'm going to hit start recording. And I should just get there we go. Yeah, I mean, as far as it goes, I mean, it looks fine to me. Like I said, there's a little bit of glitchiness that I was noticing when we were staying still, but I think that might just be the RetroTink maybe interpreting things. So I do have it on like a sharpness setting. And that's the problem with this kind of stuff. Like analog video capture for me is so complicated because there's all these different settings that can impact things, and that's why I really like these FPGA consoles. That's why I like the Mister. They're certainly not original like this is, but it is so close to the original that for me it's fine, and I get a perfect video image, right? But I could see how people would want something like this, right? All right, so I think we're good here. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to stop recording. And I'm just going to pull up the video that I just recorded on my computer so I can make sure that I've got something playable or usable. Ooh, oh no! The audio is not good. So the video's fine, but the audio sounds like a muddied mess of garbage. What the heck? This could be this NDI. Oh, gosh. Well, you know what I'm going to do? Let's see, monitor on. Yeah, why does it sound like that? I wonder if this is just this codec or the plugin. It sounds terrible. Yeah. Well, you know what I'm going to do then? I'm just going to, geez, you know, why doesn't anything just work? You heard what that sounded like? It was like a big, so the audio sounds fine to you, but when it came through on here, it's like all like a muddied mess. So let me just, you know, I'm just going to grab vMix. I have another license for it, so I'm just going to grab it and use that. Because vMix I know works. So that's what we're going to use. And I shouldn't be running it on here because this doesn't have a GPU on board, but we'll get there eventually, everybody. One step at a time. This is how hard it is sometimes to get things to capture properly. And I suspect what's happening here, to the point that was made earlier, that there's probably some issue with the plugin on OBS, which is why it sounds like that. But as you can hear, it sounds fine on vMix, so therefore, we're going to go do it this way. All right, so I've got that downloaded. Let's install that real quick. And I should have enough overhead on this computer to all right. Let's go through the install process here. One day I'll have like a Mr. Beast sized channel and I can have somebody else figure this out. So that could be how we do it. Hey, Sam Lazar is here. Good to see you. So Martin remembers when Santa brought in the SNES. So I remember the day I got my SNES. It was funny because I was with my mom. And it was like one of those things where I forgot what happened, but we had, I think it was around my sister's birthday, and we were getting my sister, we were at Toys R Us, and I really wanted the Nintendo, because a friend of mine had it, I thought it looked awesome, I loved the robot and the gun and all that stuff, and we were at Toys R Us getting my sister the birthday present that she wanted, which was this Fisher-Price kitchen thing, and it's actually still at my mom's house, and my kids now play on it, because it looks brand new. Like that thing was built to last. It was expensive. It was actually as much as the NES was. And I went there not expecting to get anything myself because it was my sister's birthday. But my mom was feeling generous or something. Or you know what she said to me? She goes, why don't you pick out something, you know, not that expensive? And so I was looking at, I think it was like those Captain Power toys, which were these like G.I. Joe style airplane things that they had a VCR tape, and so you would point the toy at the TV, and these VCR. If you go on YouTube and search for Captain Power, you'll see what it looks like, and it was cool. But my mom was looking at that. She goes, "I'd rather have you point that Nintendo at my TV than that thing," and so she let me get the Nintendo. It was awesome, and so we got the Nintendo. And that was exciting. I remember not expecting to get it that day. And so all my friends came. It was, I was like the only kid in the neighborhood at that point that had one. So that was exciting for everybody. All right, we're getting there, everybody. And if this doesn't work, then I've got to bring in a heavier, dutier PC to. VMix prefers that you have a GPU-powered PC. And now the other thing is I have to get into my password now because. But Lon, why don't you have just a regular capture card? Because NDI is supposedly easier. Although not quite. So we have, what have we dealt with today? Codec issues, audio problems with the open source plugin from the other thing. Like it's just one thing after the other. So hopefully this will all work by the time I get another copy of VMix going on this machine here. And I have to log into my VMix account, but I don't have, I use a password manager, and I recently changed all of my passwords because of the LastPass thing. So my passwords are even more complicated now, so I have to, this is just my life right now. All right, so I have this license. All right. So I'm going to install, that's right, I can deactivate this one. So I'm not using Shadow anymore. And I'm going to use this key. All right. There we go. Okay. Oh, great. Jeez. I have another key. Hang on. The key that I was using was not eligible to run VMix 3026. All right, so I've got this one I can use. All right, let's try that. Okay, so we're going to do 1080p at 60. Why isn't that an option? I'll have to set it manually. All right, we'll get there. All right, so now I'm going to go into settings. And we're going to go to NTSC 60p, 1080p. Restart, yes. Okay, almost there. We're getting there. So now I've got a second copy of VMix running. VMix actually handles NDI exceptionally well. And so if you're wondering why do I use VMix, it's because of this. All right, so I'm going to set that. Recording. I'm going to add input. I'm going to go to NDI. And we're going to select my Spark box here. There we go. That sounds better, and it looks better. So now, hey, it's working finally. I should have started here, but no. All right, so now we're going to go over to the audio settings here. So what you're hearing is what it sounds like coming through the other input I have here. So now I just want to go in and change these audio settings real quick. So audio settings, and we're going to set the channel matrix so that we have it coming out of both speakers. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to set a record folder, and hopefully I have enough space on this PC. So we're going to call this NES Mini Caps. All right, save. Okay. All right, and I'm going to hit the reset button on here. I think there is a reset button. Yes, there is. Okay, so now I'm going to hit record. There we go. All right. Let's see if this can... And the good news is that even though this laptop doesn't have a GPU, it's handling things just fine. All right, so now we're going to go back and repeat the process we did before. But now I'll have like a nice 60p recording that I can bring over to Final Cut later. And it'll have audio. And what I'm saying now won't be picked up on audio either. It looks really good, though, I have to say. Like, I'm looking on the screen right now, and this laptop has a nice sharp OLED on it. It looks really good. There we go. Yes, I think I'm good here. Now, E.C. Myers tells me that this will support the Famicom audio chips. So, the extended audio that you can get on some of the other games. So we're going to try that out in a little bit too. But I want to get a few well-known games captured here. All right, I think we're good. Okay. So I'm going to stop recording. Stop recording, yes. And I'm going to switch this off for a second. And we're going to switch games in a minute. But I just want to make sure that we got a good recording here. So let's go back to my downloads folder. Oh no. I think it's good actually, we're okay. I think it's okay. Let me check the log and make sure we didn't have any drop frames. All right, so the log says 1 drop frame, but that's okay. Yeah, I think it did okay there. So what I want to make sure is I'm getting an accurate representation of what this is like. Yeah, you know what the problem here is? That's still not doing it right, because like, this is not going to work. Let me try a different game before I make the final judgment here. So I will say though, it grips super hard on this on these cartridges too. They're hard to get out. Let me free up some RAM here too. Okay. Okay. So I think there's another batch that they are shipping out. So I think I can't believe how hard this is to get these cartridges out. Like this thing is gripping on, it's almost like it's glued in. Yeah, that is super tight. So let's go back to Super Mario 3. All right. Let me go back here and we'll flip it on. All right, we'll start recording. Oops, wrong record. Here we go. I'll give you the full view on here. All right, I just want to check and see how that looks. I may have to come back and do this again. I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays on my other computers, but it looks okay. I just don't know what I'm getting, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so there we go. So now, let's see how it does with the EverDrives. So I've got my EverDrive N8 here on the bottom. Yeah, it looks like this thing is right up there with the some of the other clone consoles I've looked at as far as grip is concerned. I'm hoping maybe that it loosens up over time, because it's pretty significant. All right, so we're going to try first the EverDrive N8, which is the NES version that I have here. And it looks like it works. Oh, wait, you know what I bet the problem is here? Hang on. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Shoot. Okay, we got to record all over again. But you know what I'm going to do this time is I'm just going to use the... So what happened was I was recording at only 30 frames per second, which is why it didn't look right on the recording. So why don't we go back and do Super Mario 3 again. And I have like a bunch of cool stuff on here that we can play around with. All right, let's go and just do Super Mario 3 on here, rather than just continually go back and forth. All right, so let's hit the record here once more. I think now we've got it all figured out. Because we were taking a 60 and I was like, why doesn't it look right? Because it was looking better on screen than it was in the recording. But it looks pretty accurate to me. I mean, it feels good. You know, granted, I'm playing on an HDMI monitor through the RetroTink here, but I'm not detecting, you know, obviously there won't be any lag because it's original hardware for the most part. But I think this will work better now that we're recording a true 60. So let's see how that came out this time. And then I think my command... Yeah, so there's the save states work. And I forgot what my button commands were to get to the menu. Maybe E.C. Myers knows the button combo to get to the menu on this thing. Yeah, I'll hit the reset button. Okay, so the good news is, I think I'm figuring out all my issues. All right, so let me get rid of these two files here. And let's play this back and see how that came out. Ah, much better. Perfect. All right, good. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it is a super clean signal out of this thing. And I'm really mindful, too, of just how things look and sound, because I know there are purists out there that are going to be really keen on making sure I get the things are what they're supposed to be like. All right, let's try a larger game here. This is Kirby's Adventure. Look how nice this looks. This looks really nice. I mean, for composite, I'm really impressed by how good this looks. All right, I think we're good there. All right, so we got that. I'm going to try the floppy disk system now too and see what happens there. And I'll take a few more questions. There you go, Zenith or bust. I had a Zenith at my house. I sure did. So I'm not, I mean, it's hard to say, Travis. I would say if I had this hooked up to my TV, there wouldn't be any. Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal on that one. Oh, what is this? I've seen the latch. Is there a latch or something? Let me see. Did you get the cartridge latch? I think it has an eject mechanism. You know, maybe I did. Let me go check that real quick. I've been putting these things in straight up. So let's, oh man, that's brutal. So let me see if there's a latch somewhere. So I know there was one other box that it had with it. Oh yeah, there is a latch here. TinyNES. Let me open this bag up here. Cartridge latch. But it looks like you have to screw it down on the thing. But it looks like you have to screw it down on the thing. Yeah, so you have to take the screws out to put this on. So what does this do? I guess this makes it easier to pull it out, I'm assuming. What I want to do though is I want to try the EverDrive here. I'm assuming it goes this way. So I've got the other EverDrive. This is a Famicom EverDrive. And this supports some of the more advanced functions. And it doesn't appear to work. Let's see. Yeah, it's not working. This is with their Famicom adapter thingy. Unless it's supposed to go this way? I don't want to put it in backwards. Should I be doing this? Is it really going backwards like that? Let's see. It doesn't work in either direction. It's because it only goes in one way here, so it won't go in this way. I will say their Famicom thing doesn't grip as hard as the other one does. All right, so I have to turn it around this way, like this, right? Let's see. Oh, there it goes. Okay. That's counterintuitive, huh? I'm glad there's some safety controls to prevent. All right, so what I wanted to do was try out the Castlevania game here. Akamuju Densetsu. So this has the extra audio channels on it. Yeah, I'll pull out the audio so you can all hear it too. It sounds like it's working. Is that not the best soundtrack ever for an NES game? Now, granted, that has extra chips, but it looks like that's working pretty well. Crisis Force, huh? All right. Do I have that? I must have that somewhere. Crisis Force. Let me look and see if I can find that. Yeah, Chris Allegretta's here. It sounds so clean out of this, doesn't it? I'm very impressed with the audio. I mean, it better be good, right? Let's see. I'm trying to remember what my button commands were to get to the menu on this thing. I have to reset. All right, so Crisis Force. Let's try that out next. I have to reset. All right, so Crisis Force. Let's try that out next. Yeah, I'm just going to play back my capture just to make sure it sounds okay here. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, you know, I mean, it's playing everything you would hope it would play. So that's been good. Crisis Force, huh? Let me see if I have that. Is that a Japanese game or an American game? I'll find out in a second here. Crisis Force. It's not there, so it must be Japanese. And we'll try the, here we go, Crisis Force. Oops. We'll try that out real quick and see how that works. Crisis Force. I haven't been on my Amazon in a while here. All right, there we go. We got some folks joining us here. Social Gamer says it's too tight. Yeah, it is a bit tight. Livestream Labs is joining us. So this is Crisis Force. I've never played this game before. Oh, sorry for the focus issue there, everybody. Here, I'll give you another view of it. Oh, this is a really cool looking game. I think I'm going to be playing this tonight. Yeah, I'll tell you what, for a composite video, I am very pleased with the output quality here, because they were definitely saying this is, you know, the deal with this machine, with this system is cleaner video output, and I think they've definitely delivered on that. Even for composite, I mean, look how sharp that looks. Now, this is running through a RetroTink, so we are upscaling it through the RetroTink, but, you know, it's a garbage in, garbage out scenario there, right? So, now the other thing they say this thing can do, and I think there's a potentiometer at the bottom, if that's the right word. Apparently you can overclock the chip with this. It looks pretty good. All right, hang on everybody. I'm just going to check my, my recording. So this game never came out in the US. It's kind of a criminal act, is it not? I'm just checking my recording here. All right, we're good there. So, good. All right, so let's try some floppy disk system stuff. Kid Cool, is that an American or a Japanese game? Let me know. So let me go in and reset this again, because I do want to try the floppy disk system and see how that plays out. So let's go to FDS. what are we going to do on the FDS? I think we're going to do Zelda no Dentisu. My Japanese is not very good. All right, maybe I have to do something else here. This might be on me. Please set discard. I may have to configure. There it goes. All right, here we go. Yeah, that seems to work. So this is the floppy disk system that's being emulated on the cartridge. So that worked. Let me hit the end of the record here. I got everything firing on all cylinders here. So you know what I do want to get is I have to. I just love this game, so I need to. I didn't actually. Let me put it this way. I didn't love the game, but I just loved it at the time. And you'll know exactly what this is when you hear the music on it. This is an American title. I already just gave it away. I love the music in this game. Cannot get enough of it. Dun 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 dun. Oh, of course I didn't want to get run over there. Donatello was my guy. It's got all the sprite flickering too, right? That's legit. See, the problem with him is that he had a great reach, except when he was leaning down, right? When he was crouching. I know I'm going backwards here, but what the heck? This is how unforgiving these games were back then. Like this was par for the course on the NES. Because you paid a lot of money for these games, so if they were too easy, it was just like, you know, you felt like you got gypped. So, and then you got frustrated with how hard it was. So like there was no happy medium with any of this. All right, I think we got enough there. All right, we're making progress. I'm getting some good samples now. Let me just make sure that this came in the way I wanted to. I'm at here. I'm just going to turn the volume back up. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I'm very pleased with how clean the audio is on this and the video. Both are really looking good. And so far, it looks like this system has been able to keep up on capturing. I don't even think I got close to the Technodrone in there. Yeah, and now on the re-release that they have, so that Ninja Turtle collection that they've got, they built into the emulation on it a rewind function, which I think makes the game more playable. Here's another Japanese floppy disk game. I just want to make sure it can handle all the different modes that this thing wants. Here's another game with a really addictive soundtrack. My wife loves this game. If she hears this upstairs, she's coming down, and that's gonna be it for the stream today. Oh, set B-side. Oh, there it goes. It automatically flips. So this was originally on a floppy drive, or a floppy disk. This song will be in your head now for the rest of the day, if not the week. And I want to thank a viewer, actually, who let me borrow his console here. So this came in from Handheld Obsession, who I met at, he's been a fan of the show for a long time, but I met him at Retro World Expo a few years ago. It's actually cool. He had printed out 3D printed a Steam Deck before it was released, based on the specs that he had seen of it. And he was right on, like, as to how it felt. It was really cool. But yeah, he reached out to me and he said, hey, I'll let you borrow it. It's like, heck yeah. So I think a lot of you might find this of interest. All right, I'm good there. Who else is Shatterhand. So when you, if you want to make a game request, I'm happy to do that. Just let me know what country the game was released in, if it was a Japanese-only title or not. So I have my stuff organized in a couple different folders. Shatterhand, US, here we go. Another one I've never played before. Ooh, that looks cool. I always love these games that started off with these really cool intro scenes. Oh, I like the music. Yeah. I've been all over this game as a kid. What a great era of gaming, huh? Like, these games were awesome. They were so hard. I like the way this one plays. It's got a lot. I've never played this game before. I will admit that I got into a Sega Master System kick, and I kind of didn't swear off the NES, but I was rooting for the little guy. I like the control on this game. It's super tight. All right, that's a good one. All right, so here's another one. We have to do this game. This next one, we're gonna have to do this one because you have to. If you're on the NES and you were a kid of the 80s. Yeah. But we're not going to do the code. We're going to play hardcore here. Let's see how far I can get. Oh yeah. You know, and what made this game fun, I think, was how hard it was, because I played the heck out of this, trying to get as far as I could on the 3 lives and the 3 continues that you could get. And I think I got past the winter level before I learned of the code. And the code was see, I'm losing my touch here. The code was a game changer, literally. But the game lacked any kind of challenge after that because you could be sloppy. This was a game that you really had to get. You had to be perfect with. Like you couldn't mess around with this game. You had to be perfect with it. Oh, you know what's funny is I have I forgot that I had set a Game Genie code on this, so he always has he always has the spread shot after he dies. So let me try this one more time. That's right, because the EverDrives let you have Game Genie codes that get locked to the game. So every time you die, you start off with the spread shot. I thought the gun sound effects in this game were great too. Like they were good for the time, I thought. But I do remember the day that I bought this game. So my mom's friend, we went out to the Toys R Us or someplace. And what was great about Contra, beyond the fact that it was a great game, was the fact that it wasn't that expensive compared to the other NES games at the time. So this game, I remember the price on it. It was like $38, whereas many of the other NES games were in the $50 range at that point. And so my mother's friend and her son, who was older than me, he was a teenager when I was a middle schooler, we went out shopping to the mall, and we went to Toys R Us, and we both got Contra that day. And then we went out to eat at Andy's Family Restaurant, which was in my hometown. And I remember like eating quickly because I wanted to get home and play Contra. And the game was as awesome as I imagined it would have been. So now I'm playing right here. Of course, I jinxed it. But there you go, you get the idea. All right. Another great title. By far. All right, how we doing here? I'm going to see if I can get my kids to play Bubble Bobble. I bet you my daughter would love this game. Oh, that's right. Why don't we try that one real quick? I forgot I have that on here. Let's try that. What do they call it in Japan, EC? So I don't know if they call it Contra there, do they? No. Oh, yeah, it is there. Okay, there it is. I got it. All right, here's the Japanese version. Oh, look at that. So this is the Japanese version of Contra. Actually has a storyline to it. I forgot about this. This is the magic of the EverDrive, by the way. Power Punch 2. I'll try that. All right, so let's see how this game starts, though. Oh, brutal. Yeah, those stores were rough. Now, this is Contra, everybody, but this is not the Contra you remember. This actually has a story, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, this was cut out of the American version for memory issues. And maybe it was because they were trying to hit that price point, right? Because all this stuff takes up memory, and back then, like, this cost money to have this kind of stuff added to the game. Now, what are you doing letting your job sidetrack you from video games right now, Frank? Look at that, it even has a map. And then you've got your familiar Contra gameplay here. All right, I'll take a few more requests here. Power Punch 2. Let me see if I can find that one real quick. And we have to do Mike Tyson's Punch-Out also. All right, Power Punch 2. I don't think I have Power Punch 2. Oh, I do. Here it is. All right, let's try that. SD. Yeah, I never played that one. You know, so many games I did not play. I was like, oh, I think I've heard about this game. Is this like, it's like boxing, but it's like a... Right, you have to, let me skip the, right, you had to train your boxer, right. I'm gonna skip the workout though. We're gonna go right into it. Prepare for fight against, right, you fight these alien, it's kind of like, yeah, did people consider this to be like a sequel to Punch-Out or something? Ooh. Because it is very similar to Punch-Out. But it has a little bit more of a role-playing element, right? Because you can train your character a little bit. That's cool. All right, let's try. We gotta do Mike Tyson's Punch-Out real quick. Now, Punch-Out went through two different iterations, and we're back. Yeah, that's that 55-minute thing. It doesn't always hit every 55 minutes, but sometimes it does. So, just par for the course these days. All right, let me get caught back up here. Okay. Looks like we have survived. All right. So I got a few more minutes, and we'll do a few more here. So we'll do Mike Tyson's Punch-Out next. I have this game upstairs somewhere, but it's more convenient when you've got it on the... And this is a Japan version, but I think it's both regions. So they changed this game after Tyson had his problems. You know what else I loved about these games? Like, you just got right into it. There was no tutorial. There was no onboarding. You just played the game. This is another one where muscle memory was like really important. And timing. This guy's really easy. This is Glass Joe, I think, right? And you know what's funny? When you got good at this game, you never forget how to play it, right? Like, it never gets old. And it was really just a matter of learning each boxer's timings, right? Did Miyamoto do this game? I think he did, didn't he? All right. What else did I want to test on this thing? Yeah, you just played the game. You loaded it up, and you had to read the instructions. So I've asked YouTube to solve this problem for a long time, and they seem to have given up on it. So I don't know what's going to happen with it. But it doesn't do it every 55 minutes, but it's always some multiple of 55. So I don't know what the solution's going to be. All right, somebody wanted to try Astynex. But I will say I'm very impressed, or pleased I should say, with how good the video output is on this. Because what you're looking at, is a good example of it. What you're looking at is a composite output. But it's super clean for composite. But it's not going to give you the crispiness that you'd get out of a, what you call it, an analog or a Mister. But it's original hardware. It's like a re-engineering of the original hardware. But the business, so the actual NES stuff is being processed through the original NES processor in this case, and its original GPU. So you're as close to the original as you can get, and it's an open source design. So they wrap the original chips around a modern design, essentially, but one that you can replicate yourself. There's a neat dynamic here with the power, how his power of the axe works. If you swing too frequently, you don't have as much power. But I can kill that guy in 2 versus... There we go. Pretty cool. All right. So that seems to work pretty well. And the EverDrive works great on it. I guess the power pack doesn't work. I do remember that arcade one. That was really cool. That was really cool. They had one at my Dairy Queen. All right, so there we go. I think I've got a good amount of footage captured for the review that I'm going to do. Yeah, so what I'm finding here is that it actually grips pretty good on this too. So I guess maybe this is what you want to use, right? Because this will... I'm not sure how this works, this cartridge latch, but apparently what it does... Actually, it doesn't look like the cartridges will fit very well in there. Oh, I see. It latches the cartridge in. Interesting. Yeah, so I got to test it out with the light gun upstairs, but beyond that, I think we're in good shape. So yeah, so that's the TinyNES, and I think I've got a good amount here. So I may just, because it's almost 4 o'clock, so I want to get a couple things done here before it gets dark. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So again, it's got, and I'll play back some footage I shot earlier of the interior, or the inside of it, so you can see what it looks like. Oops. I think that's it. There it is. So this is what the inside looks like. And so those 2 chips there apparently are originals. I have to check with Handquake to make sure, or Handheld Obsession, to see if that's what he had ordered. Because the chips look really clean, like really clean. But the deal with this thing, as I mentioned earlier, I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself, but I know not everybody got on at the same time. So the deal with this is that it is using the original CPU and PPU around a new open source, cleaner motherboard. And the result is you get, a better, it gets around some of the design problems of the original. So things sound better and look better, but you're not going to get HDMI or RGB or anything else like that. So that's kind of the deal there. I think it can do PAL. This is an NTSC version, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the chips were tuned for each one there. Yeah, I'm with you, Fred. Who's got time for cutscenes, right? There was like Ninja Gaiden. Let's do, we got to do one more, and then I got to go. Ninja Gaiden, because that did have cutscenes, but they weren't I don't think they were out of place. That's another hard game, by the way. All right, we got to record this from the beginning here because they had an awesome opening scene on this one. Oh, you know, I didn't record the. I didn't let it run through the opening. We should probably do that. Huh? Let's try that again. Let's go back and let it run from the beginning. This was a hard game. Here we go. So Damien was wondering what the difference is with the clone chips. So they said the clone chips are very close to what the originals are, but they're not the originals, right? So, and I'm pretty sure, I'll double check with Handheld before I do the review. I'm pretty sure this one is running with the originals. So this one had cutscenes, but it didn't really matter because like the game was not really tied to it. But this is where, on the NES, where a lot of this became the norm for the industry to have to do this storytelling, right? Hey, Brett, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. And I did check this out. It's pretty cool. I think it was a VR thing, too, that I was playing around with, I think related to that. All right, let's do it. This game is hard. It's easy. It starts off easy, and then it gets hard. There's another one where the muscle memory really kicks in. Oop, except right now. There he goes, yeah. That's right, I forgot. You have to get that jump just right. There we go. There we go. See, now I'm playing it. Look how good of a NES player I am, everybody. So that was the other thing. The enemies would spawn in the worst possible location. Oh. See, I was looking really good there, and then I fouled it up. Look at that. Now, back when I had this game as a kid, I had this TV that whenever anything bright was on screen, it would make this horrible buzzing sound. So whenever I played this game, I just remember that sound the TV would make on this level because this would set that TV off like there's no tomorrow. This guy was pretty easy. You just had to get him. And so this is how the game sucks you in. It looks easy to start, and then it just gets progressively harder. All right. But yes, these cutscenes were mind-blowing. Absolutely, because this, you know, the artistry was for the NES was like, whoa, it's amazing. Operation Wolf had some pretty cool cutscene graphics. And just a reminder, like what you're watching now is composite. Look how clean that is. So this had some cutscenes, but it wasn't. I liked it at the time. And that was part of what kept you motivated to keep playing was these cutscenes in this game, I think. Okay, so I was just checking the box. These are genuine chips. So he's number 30 here. It's a little out of focus. Let me go to my other camera. He's serial number 30, and it says genuine. So those chips, even though they look brand new, are apparently the real deal. All right, one more round here. How clean! I'll tell you, I'm very impressed with this. Now, granted, if we were running the RGB out of the Mister or the analog, this would be night and day, or even like an NES RGB mod. It would be significant. You would notice a huge difference. But for composite, this is going to look a lot better than your stock NES is going to look, especially one that's 30 years old or 40 years old at this point. Is the NES 40 years old? It can't be that old. The 1986, so 35 years. I think in the US, though, I didn't get mine till like 87, 88. I keep telling my daughter the 80s were such a cool time to be alive, especially the late 80s. So then you have this thing where you just can't make it. All right. Well, I think we're good here, everybody. I'm glad this worked out. All right, let me just do a couple things here real quick before we sign off. And I'll take a few more questions, and then we'll sign off. Yeah, actually, this is what we're running it through right now. So we have a RetroTink 5X right here. Here it is. It's hiding under the desk. But that's what we've been running it through. So I'm sure this is doing some enhancement to the video, but it's been making things look really good. But yeah, it looks like they're salvaging the chips, or they found some new in-box. Oh, I killed out the thing. Hang on a second. I have this keyboard that is giving me issues. I know how to fix it, but I have to just, long story. Let me put these back up here again. So Damien had commented about the RetroTink there. Hang on a second. What is going on here? There we go. So yeah, so we have the RetroTink going, so that's why it looks as good as it does. But I still think I'm going to plug it into my CRT upstairs. I think it's going to look just as good up there too. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Martin. And I did not, but my mother was from Brooklyn, so when she wanted you to stop doing something, she didn't have to set a timer. She just had to let the Brooklyn out for a little bit. And that's right. These were good cutscenes. Oh, that's pretty cool, Damien. Yeah, there was some great stuff in Nintendo Power. And I did the same thing, Orlando. I would save up money, and it would take you weeks, months to get enough money to buy a game. And it was always a bummer when the game wasn't good. And I agree completely with Damien on this topic. That's why this is going to take some nuance to explain. I have a lot. Now I have a lot. Back then I didn't. So I had an NES. So when I was a kid, I had an NES. I got the Master System, the Sega Master System. And then I got the Genesis a couple of years after that. And from there, then when I got, I was a teenager at that point, so I could mow lawns and make more money. I went from the Genesis, I got a Sega CD. I was really into the PC, though, for a while, so that got me off of consoles for a little bit. But, yeah, I had a PlayStation. Yeah, once I got into college and I was making some money, I could buy whatever, right? So that was the difference. But, yeah, that was the TinyNES. So I think we got enough here to go on with. And it's good stuff. I don't know the answer to this question, Serial Tune. I think QuickSync is going to be enough for most people on Plex, so I wouldn't go kill yourself on a GPU for the server unless you're using it for other things. All right, I got to take off. But I thank you all for tuning in as always. This was a lot of fun. And look for the review. I'm going to try to get this up for the weekend, so I'm going to probably shoot it tomorrow. I definitely got a lot of good material today on the stream, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. And yeah, I'm going to probably hook it up to my TV upstairs just to capture some light gun footage. My favorite light gun game is Freedom Force. That game's awesome. So cool. Well, thank you all for tuning in today, and I want to thank our super chatter. Let me pull up your name again. So I want to thank Brett Wetzel for your super chat, and I think Travis Rhodes re-upped on his membership, so thank you for that as well. And I will catch you all on the next stream. And thanks everybody for your game requests. And if you want to do one of these again, let me know. Email me. Maybe we'll do. You know, my daughter, my oldest, really wants to do a gaming stream one night. So maybe we'll do an 80s video game stream night so she can appreciate the classics, and maybe some of you can share with her your favorite games. That's something she wants to do. So I think we're gonna plan that out. All right, everybody. I'm gonna take off, but thank you all for tuning in, and we'll be back with more before you know it. And I've got a bunch of videos in the can already, so it's gonna be a fun week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.